CEO just went on live TV stating that by year's end XRP will exceed Bitcoin and that Bitcoin will exceed $200,000. This is verified and it follows the Federal Reserve's approval of XRP for payments and Ripple's $10 million contribution to the US federal government to start the process, validated once more by Ripple's CEO. Welcome back to today's video, everyone. Let's discuss the most recent news on the CryptoKey channel and some significant XRP price forecasts for today. Starting with $13.59 once the announcement of settlement, which could not happen in the next 48 hours, $157.29 per XRP on relisting on all exchanges, $948.34 with the Ripple IPO and bank partners, and $59,238.21 with global CBDC integration. Ripple's IPO is officially starting today, thus our attention is on $2,940.34. ProShares Trust's XRP ETF, in fact, is scheduled to go public on April 30, 2025, hence releasing XRP. And well, in South Korea to be exact, on worldwide exchanges, XRP has already shot to $50.17. Naturally, this is just the beginning of the great bull run that will follow the significant price rise for XRP, which will exceed $2,940.34. But first, some free XRP will help you all get ready for today's video. Every one of you viewing this video can actually receive free XRP worth up to $100. It actually takes us roughly 5 minutes. Just hit the like button, follow the channel with your press alerts, and share this video. After that, you have to register on Apple using the link in the description and perform a transaction. Once that's finished, the transaction can be any amount, 1 penny, $1, $10, etc. But as long as you go ahead and up using my link in the description and do a transaction, you'll actually get yourself up to $100 for you to gather even more XRP with. It's literally free money, so I certainly advise this golden chance. And you never know what the price of XRP could be, maybe in the tens of thousands of dollars. That said, let us jump straight into the film. XRP's price is $2.08, nearly $2.09, then around 1.80% as we begin today's video. When we talk about XRP, we have to start with this clip, which is literally the title of today's video, and it's confirming XRP being predicted, the price of XRP being predicted by Ripple CEO himself. Let's thus proceed. Let's run the clip now. Tariff Festival. The tariff's future is unclear, but we are betting on where the world will be in 3 years rather than what will happen the next 6 months. A year ago, would you have acquired that? Definitely not. The SEC in the United States and even other areas of the Biden administration was a coordinated assault spanning several different agencies. We're discovering increasingly more out now. As you pointed out in your introduction, the IRS had unfriendly policies on cryptocurrency that really defied logic. For a bank to even participate in this sector really makes no sense, given that banks weren't even allowed to reasonably keep crypto without an equal offset to their balance sheet. It's a genuine sector. Wouldn't mean that administration wasn't paying attention to consumers. They weren't paying attention to the voter and what the voter desired. We are now observing a notable universal shift. A year ago, an acquisition like that would have been illogical. Now it makes perfect sense. It is really incredible. Looking at you makes me remember, was it 2 or 3 years ago? How long have you all been under this lawsuit? December 22, 2020. That is 4 years. We've been discussing and I wondered what will happen here. You are on kind of the edge, the cusp of this just at last vanishing. Certainly, and just as it's beneficial for Ripple, it's beneficial for XRP, it's also beneficial for the entire sector. We do not wish for these sectors to be pushed overseas. What was going on in last 4 years is practically the reverse. You know, we believe it's safer to push them to offshore companies. How many staff members do you have? Let people know how many you employ. Our purchase brings our workforce to roughly 1,100. That's amazing. These are well-paying positions, and for a time, as you and I have discussed previously, over the 4 years of the Biden administration, we actually hired more outside the United States than inside. Growing up in Kansas as a ex-citizen, I would want to employ people here. We have some of the best talent in the world here, but it made no sense to invest in a market where we couldn't sign customers. We could not really observe banks gain from a better, more straightforward cross-border payment settlement. These are technologies that can really help and revolutionize companies' customer interactions, but we must be able to provide them to these audiences. Sure, was more than 10 years ago. I believe we had the Winklevoss brothers flat-out mic drop no rejected for their push to have an ETF that let people invest in Bitcoin. Now we have so many of those. And this week an XRP ETF started, right? Though it's been, I believe, 11 separate requests to go live live with an ETF trading here in the United States. It hasn't yet traded live there. It is trading outside the United States though. Long overdue. This is a move toward a more institutionalized, safer method for individuals to engage in these markets. Hidden Road, our purchase this week cost us $1.25 billion for what is termed a prime broker. This lets even bigger companies like BlackRock, like the largest Wall Street financial institutions, to enter this market with a safer prime broker to assist clear transactions and a larger balance sheet to accomplish that. It benefits the whole sector. Your final thought on the trade war then is that people had been claiming for some time that Bitcoin and cryptocurrency were a hedge against all sorts of anxiety about a declining dollar. I mean, even Larry Fink said on this network, on this show about a year ago, that it was a hedge against cratering currencies of whoever's country. That hasn't quite come into play. The dollar has been falling really precipitously over the past 5-6 days. In fact, it was still going at least as of this morning. It had a 3-year low versus the euro and a 10-year low versus the Swiss franc, and crypto at least today is rising, but it moves all over the place. What causes the price of cryptocurrency? I wish I had a clear response to that query. Like any market, a lot of elements drive that. There was a time when some of the tariff dynamics were playing out and crypto was obviously outperforming the stock markets. Some, however, hoped it would act more like gold. We are witnessing all-time highs. I believe individuals are still working out how that will play out. I believe the long-term value here will be quite obvious. It is an inflation hedge. It's a dynamic whereby the more utility we push in the crypto markets, the more value we will see accrete to that market. I don't know whether you do this, but I'm going to ask you and urge you, how much do you expect Bitcoin to cost? As I mentioned before, Cardano blockchain founder forecast 250,000 by year-end. You know I will forecast Bitcoin. I wouldn't forecast XRP. It's too near to home. Still, I believe 200,000 is not excessive. I believe 175 roughly there before I have kind of mentioned it. You know, I believe many people overlook how the biggest economy in the world, the United States, went from headwinds and hostility to tailwinds. People are still not completely measuring how important it is to have the largest economy in the world, the largest asset managers in the world, go from relatively frozen out or hostile to now a friendly market with reasonable regulation considering pro-innovation here at home. Okay, you all have heard it and seen it all, so there's no use in me even presenting you all the remaining clips. What we really want to discuss though is Binance's confirmation of $600 per XRP and strong emphasis on how the XRP ledger use case will elevate XRP to a whole new level. Consider it this way, everyone, the XRP ledger is thriving. By the end of 2025, in fact, it will help between $30.50 trillion under the Curative Trading Fund Payment Awards framework run by the sitio